Queen Margrethe and Prince Henrik were married for 50 years, but their relationship was far from easy. Henrik openly expressed his unhappiness with his role as prince consort, constantly struggling with being in the shadow of his wife. Their marriage was marked by public disputes and moments that humiliated the queen. And just a few months before his death, Henrik made a final will that shocked everyone. What drove him to make such a surprising decision at the end of his life? And why did many call him the grumpiest royal in Europe? Watch the full video to find out. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified as I upload a new video. Let's go on. Margrethe was born on April 16, 1940, at Amalienborg Palace, to King Frederick IX and Queen Ingrid. At the time of her birth, she was not expected to rule Denmark. According to the succession rules set in 1853, only male heirs could inherit the throne, so it was thought the crown would pass to her uncle since she had no brothers. But in 1953, the law changed, allowing women to become heirs if no male heirs existed. Suddenly, 13-year-old Margrethe was designated as the future queen. From that moment, her life became one of strict tradition and royal protocol. Margrethe first studied at a private school in Copenhagen, graduating in 1959. She then pursued political science at several European universities, including in England and France. It was during her studies abroad that she would meet the man who would become her husband. In 1965, while studying at the London School of Economics, 25-year-old Margrethe attended a dinner party where she first met Henri de Laborde de Montpezat, a young French diplomat working as a secretary at the French embassy. Margrethe later recalled, "Apart from the fact that I found him very likable, I did not really take much notice of Henri. He was just a young man I met occasionally, and in fact, I believe it was he who noticed me, and not the other way round." Several months later, they were reunited at a wedding in Scotland. This time, Margrethe said she fell in love with a bang. After dating in secret for about a year, Henri proposed, beginning a romance that would eventually last 5 decades. Henri de Laborde de Montpezat was born in 1934 in Talence, Gironde, France. His father was a diplomat, and his mother came from an aristocratic family. Henri spent much of his childhood in Hanoi, where he became fluent in Vietnamese, before moving to Paris for higher education. He studied law and political science at the Sorbonne, preparing for a career in diplomacy. Later, he joined the French Foreign Ministry and worked as a secretary at the embassy in London from 1963 to 1967. It was there that he met Margrethe. To marry the future queen, Henri made significant sacrifices for love. He converted from Catholicism to Lutheranism, changed his name to Henrik to sound more Danish, and gave up his promising diplomatic career. On June 10, 1967, Margrethe and Henrik married in a grand ceremony at Copenhagen's Holmen Church, with royals and dignitaries from across Europe in attendance. Margrethe looked stunning in an ivory silk gown. The couple soon settled into family life, welcoming their first son, Crown Prince Frederick, in 1968, followed by Prince Joachim in 1969. Just a few years later, in 1972, tragedy struck when Margrethe's father, King Frederick IX, passed away. At only 31 years old, Margrethe ascended the throne, becoming Queen Margrethe II of Denmark. Henrik, however, became only a prince, not a king. As in most monarchies, a woman takes the title of queen when her husband becomes king, but the same rule doesn't apply in reverse. This made Henrik the first male consort in Danish history. With no clear description of his duties, Henrik had to define his own role. He served as supporter and counselor to the queen, traveled with her on official visits, met foreign leaders, and played a part in modernizing the monarchy. But despite these responsibilities, he grew increasingly frustrated by the lack of recognition in his title and status, especially when compared to his sons. Over the years, Prince Henrik made no secret about his unhappiness at being denied the title of king. Many Danish people disliked him for that, seeing it as a sign of an arrogant man hungry for recognition. But his struggles went beyond titles. Henrik was also criticized for never fully embracing Danish culture. Despite living in Denmark for decades, he never mastered the language completely, and his strong French accent made some view him as an outsider who wasn't truly one of them. In the mid-1980s, he sparked further controversy by saying he wanted his own paycheck instead of relying on the Queen's annual allowance. a comment that many saw as inappropriate and greedy. Henrik's frustrations about his role never truly went away, and he often found subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, ways to express them. On his 50th birthday, he half-joked to reporters that perhaps he was finally old enough to stop asking his wife for money just to buy cigarettes. As the years went on, this simmering dissatisfaction sometimes boiled over into dramatic displays. One of the most public examples came in 2002, when Queen Margrethe chose their eldest son, Crown Prince Frederick, to represent her at a traditional New Year's ceremony. Henrik saw this as a deep personal insult. Speaking to the tabloids, he admitted feeling pushed aside, degraded, and humiliated, saying his self-respect was being destroyed. He declared, "For many years, I have been Denmark's number 2. I have been satisfied with that role, but I don't want to be relegated to number 3. After this, Henrik felt so upset that he left Denmark and went back to France for 3 weeks. Rumors of a possible royal divorce swirled until Margrethe herself traveled to meet him. In the end, they returned to Denmark together, publicly reconciling. To ease tensions, the Queen later took steps to formally recognize his place in the monarchy. In 2005, Henrik was officially given the title of Prince Consort of Denmark, and their sons were granted the family name counts of Montpezat. Yet, despite these gestures, Henrik never seemed able to shake his hurt. He continued to believe he had sacrificed his career and his home country, only to be denied the title he thought he deserved. Speaking to Dutch public television, he expressed his frustration and disbelief that Denmark did not recognize him as an equal to Queen Margrethe. "I have always said that I should be a partner, but I am not considered a partner because I'm not on the same level as my wife, which is completely incomprehensible. All the queens in history have made their husbands king consorts. Why should I be under my wife?" Henrik said in an interview. But for Margrethe, the throne always came first. She couldn't change laws and traditions just to please her husband. She made it clear that her duty to Denmark was above everything, even her marriage. "Denmark is more important to me than anything else. I do not think I have ever even flirted with the idea of putting my marriage before the throne," she once said. By 2016, Henrik formally retired from public life and renounced the title of Prince Consort. But even in his final years, his feelings of being overlooked stayed with him. In 2017, only a few months before his death, he made headlines by announcing that he did not wish to be buried beside Queen Margrethe in Roskilde Cathedral, breaking with centuries of royal tradition. "Any man who is not equal to his spouse is not worthy to be buried in the same grave. If she wants to bury me with her, she must make me a king consort," he added. End of story. I couldn't care less. Not long after, Henrik's health declined. He was diagnosed with dementia in 2017, and in February 2018, at the age of 83, he died peacefully, surrounded by his wife and children. Upon his death, the royal house announced that the Queen had accepted her husband's decision of not being buried next to her. Instead, he was cremated. Despite the public humiliations, Queen Margrethe always had deep sympathy for her husband's unusual position. She later said, "I do not think that this new life in Denmark was always very easy for my husband. We were both madly in love and knew this was what we wanted, but we had no doubts that it would have a price." Even with their many differences, Margrethe described Henrik as her greatest support, the one who gave her strength during the loneliest days of her reign. In the end, they stayed married for 50 years, a remarkable achievement given the challenges they faced. Do you think Queen Margrethe should have given Henrik the title of king, as he so desperately wished? Share your thoughts in the comments. And that's it. If you enjoyed the video and want more like it, be sure to leave a thumbs up below in appreciation. And if you haven't already, you really